Have you ever followed behind a truck with a sign that says, "How am I driving?" Now, that sign is a reminder that employees behind the wheel of a work vehicle will be held to a higher standard of driving safety than anyone else on the road. To them, you are the person responsible for the impression others have of the company, good or bad. If you're changing lanes quickly, driving aggressively, or speeding, then not only are you putting yourself at risk, but you're opening your employer to risks that are avoidable. In this module, you'll learn about safe driving techniques to keep you and others on the road safe. Now, this training will cover operational instructions and expectations, maintenance and vehicle inspections, defensive driving techniques, evaluating an at-risk driver, and pedestrian safety. While operating a vehicle, you are responsible for your driving style and behaviors. However, the entire organization has a role in driver safety. Supervisors or members of the safety team play a key role in driver safety by implementing and enforcing safety standards. To drive a company vehicle, you'll need to be legally authorized to drive both while using a work vehicle and while outside of work. Your licenses will need to be up to date and not expired. Before ever setting foot in a work vehicle, there are steps you should take to ensure that you understand the responsibilities and expectations for driving. Your company is expected to have current insurance and registration on all company vehicles. They'll be responsible for ensuring you have all the information you need should there be an accident. You'll want to stay mindful of any guidelines or regulations that are needed to be followed by vehicle type or industry specific. You must follow all the laws and regulations while driving. Be sure you understand the company's processes in case of an accident or road hazard. Think back to the last time you drove a company vehicle, or even your own vehicle for that matter. Did you have any close calls? Were you driving safely? Now, there's more to responsible driving than wearing a safety belt and using your blinkers. Now, while driving a company vehicle, you will need to adhere to speed limits, wear a seatbelt at all times, and ensure you're following standard driver safety. You want to give other cars on the road space, slow down when approaching heavy traffic or construction, and safely change lanes or take exits. You should not operate a vehicle while distracted. Distraction means any time you look away from the road, take your hands off the wheel, or use a cell phone. Now, cell phone use in particular is being regulated and restricted while driving. Your employer will likely have policies surrounding cell phone usage. And the best way to stay compliant with both employer policies and state laws is to not use your phone while driving. It is also best not to eat while driving or listen to overly loud music, which can distract you from hearing or seeing any hazards around you. Proactive maintenance and inspections ensure that the vehicle is safe to drive. Now, a best practice is to have a maintenance and inspection checklist per vehicle type. A safety team or supervisor should be verifying the work and recording completed checklists. Now, these inspections aren't just about keeping a work vehicle maintained. Catching vehicle maintenance needs or issues early is essential for road safety. If the seatbelt isn't extending, the brakes need change, or any of the other maintenance issues that can service are not addressed, then you could be putting yourself and others on the road at risk should the vehicle fail while driving. A basic checklist could include, but is not limited to, the following. Are there leaks? Fuel, hydraulic oil, engine oil, or coolant may be leaking, which could be an indication of a bigger problem. How are the tires? Visually check their pressure and condition. Periodically checking actual tire pressures is also important. How's the battery? Check the charge when you enter the vehicle. Ensure the driver's manual is in the vehicle. Is the seatbelt functioning? Is the parking brake functioning? How is the steering operation? Are the horn, lights, and flashers in proper working order? And is there a first aid kit on board, and is it stocked appropriately? It's important to do frequent checks along with major inspections. It's easier to spot an issue before it becomes a risk with daily or at least weekly checklists. Defensive driving requires you to be aware of and anticipate hazards while on the road. The largest factor in most accidents is aggressive driving, which includes speeding. Now, as a company representative, especially when on the road, you'll need to implement defensive driving techniques to reduce risk and ensure safety. A defensive driver should be prepared. Anticipate the expected road conditions, weather, traffic, and areas under construction. You should also be more aware while driving at night. You'll want to take extra time to get to your destination. Ensure your lights are working, and when driving through rural areas, check the sides of the road for deer or other animals that could enter traffic. Avoid distractions. Drivers should not use phones, eat while driving, or play loud music. Any action that takes your eyes off the road or hands off the wheel need to be avoided. Slow down. Do not speed. Speeding is one of the leading causes of accidents. Plan ahead to allow plenty of time to reach the destination. Look ahead. Keep your focus on the other drivers and vehicles on the road. Check your mirrors. Mirrors provide views of vehicles both beside and behind you. Frequent checks allow for better awareness of your surroundings. Stay alert. Continue to be fully aware of your surroundings. Take breaks if you're feeling fatigued or distracted. Do not drive while tired. As a rule, you should stop every 2 hours to take a moment to stretch or walk around. Pass other vehicles safely. Before passing another car, make sure you check your mirror and safely check behind you to ensure the path is clear. Signal before changing lanes and ensure that you're safely clear of the car being passed. You don't want to jump back over to the lane too quickly. Leave space. Keep your distance from other objects, vehicles, or equipment. Do not tailgate or follow too closely behind other cars. Also, don't cut in front of a car you just passed before there's adequate distance between you and that other car. Account for the weather. Now, as a rule, slow down during inclement weather. Additional preparations and driving techniques will be needed for inclement or winter weather. So be sure to adjust to safety standards appropriate for the weather and driving conditions. Now, these techniques can make the difference between driving safely and being in an accident. In addition to these tips, you should really take into account the specific operational standards and warnings for different vehicles. Understanding the risk or limitations of the vehicle being used is essential. If you're unsure about the risk or limitations, ask for help. Your employer may have a job hazard analysis or similar document available to help you understand the hazards of each task or driving condition. Now, there is a huge difference between driving a loaded dump truck versus a company car. Blind spots, stopping distances, loading hazards, and other concerns can vary dramatically from vehicle to vehicle. Don't operate the vehicle until you know the risk and how to avoid them. And while you are responsible for driving safely, supervisors and safety team members should actively monitor the behaviors and actions of each driver. An at-risk driver exhibits behaviors or actions that increase the likelihood of an accident. Now, there are many ways to approach evaluating risk, but the 4 C's is an easy process to keep in mind. When evaluating an at-risk driver, go through these 4 C's: crash history, concerns, clinical conditions, and cognitive functions. Previous accidents do not automatically mean a driver is at risk. It is part of the evaluation process, as repeated hazardous behavior such as aggressive driving or speeding could be an indication of increased risk. This is just one consideration. What concerns are being brought to the attention of supervisors or the safety team? Is the driver under intense work or personal stress? And are these stressors leading to decreased awareness or increased distracted driving? There may be physically demanding tasks required to operate certain vehicles. It's important to ensure drivers are physically able to safely operate the vehicle without risk to their own health. If an employee is on restricted duty, ensure the demands of operating the vehicle fall within the prescribed work limitations. A driver should not operate a vehicle if it's determined to be unsafe. Similarly, if there is observed erratic, unsafe, or visibly impaired decision-making, then the driver should be considered at risk. Supervisors should have access to training on specifically how to determine if a driver is under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Now, this determination should be taken seriously and addressed swiftly. Unannounced drug or alcohol tests might be a part of your employer's regular safe work practices. Policies on this should be clearly and frequently communicated. Proactively evaluating at-risk drivers ensures the safety of all employees and the general population on the roadways. Pedestrians will always have the right of way. And when you're going about your job, being it delivering packages, driving a sales vehicle, or operating a city bus, you should expect and be aware of pedestrians. Fully come to a halt at every stop sign. Even if the stop sign is in a grocery store parking lot, you should always stop and take the time to see if there are any pedestrians that may be attempting to cross. Always wait for pedestrians to fully cross before moving forward. You should not creep into the lane or behind a person walking into a crosswalk. Wait until they are fully on the sidewalk or new pathway before moving forward. Now, let's be honest, not every person uses a crosswalk. When driving in areas with heavy pedestrian traffic, be alert to people that may move in front of your vehicle. The risk of a person walking while distracted is pretty high. People are frequently looking at their cell phones more than watching traffic. Be extra cautious in areas with heavy foot traffic. Slow down. Be prepared to stop. Even if people walking are distracted, you should continuously monitor your surroundings. Safe driving requires consistency and vigilance. Strictly follow any state or federal laws. Wear your seatbelt and complete frequent vehicle inspections to spot trouble early. Remember these key driving safety rules. Avoid distractions. Observe proper speed for conditions. Maintain proper following distance. Be attentive to the road ahead. React properly to hazards. Yield the right of way. Maintain one lane. Do not operate a vehicle that fails safety inspections, and do not operate any vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Drive safely so that when another driver sees your How Am I Driving sign, they'll have nothing but compliments to give.